Okay, legendary Rick.
Hey, folks, what's happening?
And with us today, special guest, Dr. Valerie Littles-Butler, former Rattlerette basketball player all the way from Minnesota, came down here and did some positive things. And one of the biggest things she did was she got her degree.
Well,
You know, and she's going to be able to bring you up to date with some of the things that she's done. But one thing that's for certain, this month, this Women's History Month has been really something. We've had some really good guests, Rick.
we really have, Coach, and they've all been insightful. The one thing that's really impressed me about them all is how they're all in their calling. They all had a calling from up above. I call them God. You may call them something else, but they had a calling to do something special, and they're living in that moment. And I love that. I respect that, and you can see that. Um, as one of our guests once said, I haven't worked a day in my life. Dr. Moore said that last week. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, we started here with man with Coach Miss Hill, Sarah
Hmm.
Hill Yates, and she came on, and the thing that I kept hearing about from her visit was, man, I didn't know she was the first women's AD. I Coach, I didn't know that, and I was like, yeah, she is that, and we're doing some research and doing some things with her where we're going to actually kind of promote some of the things that she's done because a lot of people don't really know about it. So we need to. One thing that we've learned is that we actually have to capture history, Rick. You know, people are change history and rewrite it, and it'll be something completely different from what happened. So we want to capture it, put it up there where people will know who those people are. Um, was there anything in there that from Miss Hill that kind of got your attention a little bit?
Well, the first one was that what she had to go through. Another fighter. I mean, she knew what she wanted to do right away, and that was to make women's sports, give them some equality at the collegiate level, and the battles that she had to fight to get there. And then, lo and behold, her efforts led to Coach Clayton being the first women's basketball coach in Florida A&M, and
Mhm.
and the others followed. And so I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, she was that type of person. Um, she was that type of person. She actually made it relatively easy for me because she handled so many issues that I wasn't even aware of that she was handling and dealing with because she handled them like that, you know. And one of the things about Miss Hill Yates was, at FAMU, she all the things that she's done for the university. And when you look at women's athletics now, she's the reason that that groundwork was laid like it was. And for a while, it was extremely difficult for anybody to come in there and kind of replicate what she did because she set such a pattern and such a tradition that some of the programs now are having trouble living up to that tradition through the things that that she did.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of kudos to her as a former athlete herself, to be able to do the things that she did, um, for her institution. It's something I don't think anybody could, you know, take for granted. The battles and the scars that she wore from that.
Mm.
And then we had Coach Mercedes Corona from Tallahassee Community College women's basketball. Um, what about that? Do you remember?
She excited me, coach, because again, a battler, again, someone in her own field, someone who's working in her calling. Well, she said she grew up and was playing against her brothers all the time, and basketball was always her thing, and building programs is her thing. And maybe she had a rough start, but she's determined to turn it around. And I have no doubt that she is, just from the brief conversations we had,
Mm.
because she seems to have that fire, and she's a go-getter, and I like that.
Okay, well, one of the things you probably didn't know was she reached back to me after the show about insights after she did some additional research on insights, and spoke of the fact that she had some young ladies that were interested, in doing what we do. And one of the things that we always try to do is provide opportunities. And if we can get somebody in and get an internship or get some practical experience in terms of what we're doing that they could use, maybe they find something that sparks them, that this might be a career choice, a career path for them to follow. So she reached out to me, and I told her, once they get on board, let me know, and we'll talk to them and see what we can do to try to help them navigate that. You know, it
Awesome.
was just, but I agree with you about the energy. She has that. Um, I I don't want to go too far because I see Sports Divas commented, and I didn't see it. She said Miss Hill Yates still bleeds orange and green, and she talked about the stuff she was able to accomplish with so little.
Mm.
And the first thing I should have put, she said, "Hey, you know, that's Sports Diva, and that orange and green. I mean, it's something special." We'll get back to that orange and green. The University of Miami, we're the original orange and green, but we'll talk about them and their appearance in the Final Four and what they got going on. But that orange and green ain't nothing to play with.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
then we had one of my former players that I had from God when she was a little girl playing basketball,
Mhm.
and went on to accomplish a lot of things. And see, the story for Chelsea, Chelsea Johnson Muir, has not been written yet. You know, her personal servant is something that's really, really going well for her. And it's funny, you start off doing one thing, and it ends up helping her place a lot of her kids in college,
Mhm.
from the relationships that she has developed from that. And what do you remember from that about Chelsea?
I've said it. The calling, and this is true calling. I mean, she lives out her calling, and she doesn't hide her spirituality and how that leads her and guides her, and has made her as successful as she is.
Yeah, she does an excellent job with her young ladies to teach them how to carry themselves off the court, how to conduct themselves, how to handle business, and she really tries to get them as many opportunities as she can to continue their education and follow their life's calling. But you would think that you know her program does not have the W's that you would expect or think it has, especially when you look and see how many of her young ladies she places in school.
Mm.
She places more young ladies in college than any other girls program in the area.
Wow.
And that's just her making sure that they have an opportunity, and I don't think they come much more humble than what Chelsea is. I mean, she's,
In fact, indeed.
yeah, she's a special young lady.
Yes.
The last show we just had, what about that young lady right there?
Someone who ran from her calling, who was determined not to go into her calling.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, no matter what you do, you may run, but you cannot hide.
Mm-hmm.
And look what she's doing now at OSU, doing good things, doing great things. Yeah.
Oklahoma State assistant band director and leader of the pep band, having been in the 100, a dad who was a head drum major in the 100, a mom who sings with a gorgeous voice, and the talent that flows to their family. We've been trying to get some of them on. They are outstanding gospel singers. And Devan, I just thought they didn't come much more honest than what Devan was. Because she made one comment about the high school Devan wouldn't have understood. And I just thought that was a mature comment to make. And I think another thing, she kind of sent a message to parents about being supportive of your children when they might not follow the academic path that you may have thought they were going to be on or should be on, but just support them to live their life in the way that they see best for them. That's one of the things that just really kind of resonated with me about her. So then we have Dr. Val Littles-Butler. I don't know. I see her on here, which surprised me that she was on time.
Ooh.
But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Dr. Littles, are you available for the show today?
I am available. You did. I am always on time.
Yeah, right. And on time in your own mind.
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Littles, where are you? We're looking at all black screen.
I don't know why you're looking at an all black screen.
Because that's what you're giving me.
Get yourself together.
Oh.
I have no idea. It's on. My screen is on. I see you guys. I'm in, and I don't know why this is dark. But I'll keep working on it. You got my voice.
Hey, that's better than nothing. For trust.
Oh, trust me. I had to get on a whole nother computer. I'm still at work. And you know what? I don't know what keeps trying to block me and stop me from having these conversations with you, Coach, but Satan is a lie. I'm going to keep it moving, and this is how we roll.
Say this is how we roll, huh?
This is how we just keep it moving, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it because I really appreciate the opportunity to just be here talking to you. Every time I even talk about FAM, I just light up because it was so instrumental in my life. I'm here because of FAM. I know God has paved the way. He created all these opportunities for me, but I was born and raised in St. Paul, Minnesota, but I grew up at FAM.
Now explain that for people who don't quite know what that means, Val.
Okay, so when I came down to Florida A&M, I was fresh 19 years old, just transferred down, just graduated and just couldn't do nothing with an associate's degree. And I needed to get out of St. Paul and just go grow up because I was born we call it the village up here. It's called Rondo. And this was where Black people migrated to Minnesota, and they migrated to this particular part of the city. And so I grew up, when I tell my story, people don't understand. I grew up with Black teachers, Black everything. The whole community was just Black. And people think I grew up down south, but I didn't. I grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota, and people just thought only Prince lived in Minnesota, but no, that's not true.
That's what I thought. I didn't
know it. People asked me, and they kept thinking I was saying Sarasota wrong. I said, no, Minnesota. So, but I grew up because I was on my own. I had to grow up. The first person, my god sister went there, and the first person she introduced me to was Coach Clayton, because she know I play basketball. And I'm gonna tell you, it was divine travels to get to Florida A&M. When my coach up here lied and told me she was sending all of my film and footage to Coach Clayton, she spoke to Coach Clayton, and he would be ready for me when I got down there. When I got down there, he never even heard of me, ever. But they were playing a pickup game. It was in August. They were playing a pickup game. He said, "Get out there and show me what you can do." And he allowed me to, by the grace of God, I made it as a walk-on. He said, "I have no more scholarship money left, but I tell you what, I'm gonna help you with your books." And I'm telling you, I remember the conversation like it was yesterday. And he took care of me from there. He just took me under his wing. And when I got into the classes and stuff like that, I got my schedule and stuff like that. Registration was the hardest thing I ever been through in my life at FAM. That was the hard. But I got my classes, and people just treated me like I was their own. And it became family so fast, right away. They knew I was not from Florida, but people just took me under their wings. And I'm telling you, it was God ordained for me to be there. I didn't know anybody at FAM except my god sister. And she said, "I'll introduce you to the coach." And it took off from there.
You know, I don't remember you sharing that whole story. You know, that's, but I remember telling you that though.
Yeah.
And see, my story that I remember, that I have a vivid image of Val. See, Val was one of those girls that liked to talk a lot of junk. And she would talk it. I mean, she was little, not just because her name was Val Littles, but she'd be standing up, sitting out in the chair, kind of squat, and she'd be messing with people. You know, the game be going on, and she'd be one of those instigating from the bench. And I don't remember who we were playing. I said, "Val," I said, "Come, go get so-and-so." She's talking about, "Who, me?" I said, "Yeah, you." I'm going, Val, get your brother to go in the game. She was like, "Oh." She was good procrastinating now. She could be up there and see that look in her eyes right there. That's the look she had. She'd mess with people. But then when she had to go in, she was like, "Uh-oh."
But it's, you know, I learned so much, even just practicing and building up my character. I think because I'm so short, I'm very witty and just clowning all the time. That's just my personality to this day. Because it's all about laughter. And I think laughter is the best medicine. It's so free and it's the best medicine. But you can't be so serious about everything. But what I did learn on that court from the players that have made me step up my game, they force you to step up your game, especially coming from where I came from. You really had to, if you wanted to make those road trips, you better step up your game. Because, man, you didn't know, Coach, that many times I was down there and scrambling. I was on faith. No food, no a whole lot of anything, but just faith. Didn't have a lot of money. My mom and them lived so far away, and that's back in the day when you had to pay long distance service for phone calls and stuff like that. Sometimes I didn't have lights. Sometimes I didn't have a whole lot, so I hung out in the library a lot and just studied and studied and studied. And I was determined to really, really make it. And I didn't want to waste my time down there. I didn't want to waste my mom and them's money. And I was just really determined to make it and take advantage of this opportunity. I'm the very first of my siblings to go to college. I'm the very first to complete college. I'm the very first in my family to go to a HBCU.
And say, so you were the one who came back with all the flavor.
Yes, I came back with so much that's when you saw me come down with the college tour. And had a lot of students. We continue to this day. I ride the bus. I'll get on the bus and ride with these kids to expose them to something that we never will have here in Minnesota.
Well, I'm surprised you had enough Black people to get on a bus from Minnesota.
Sir, we have a lot of Black people here. We have a lot of Black people here. We've always had a lot of Black people until you get outside of the city limits. Then no. Once you get to the suburb, now it's very diverse. It is extremely diverse. So, but growing up, I just had this village mentality, and I was expected, and it was my responsibility to go and do better than the ones that trailblazed the way before me. And that was my expectation all along. And that's when I grew up. So I stayed down there 3 years in FAM, and I was only eligible for 2 years to play basketball.
Mhm.
But I stayed down there that third year because I had to finish. When I transferred down, I lost credits, but I enjoyed the journey. Now, when you enjoy the journey, that makes it so much more beneficial. All the bumps and bruises and the ups and downs, it grows who you are, and it grows your character and makes you stronger. You get knocked down, but I tell you, off the court, the conversations that I had with you, Coach, I remember everything like it was yesterday when you said, don't live your life trying to pay somebody else's bills by going to stay in an apartment building. Go get your own house, be a homeowner, and do all these. And you just kept dropping nuggets of knowledge of how to live in this world. And I always took hold of that. And as soon as I got out of FAM and I graduated, I walked right into a teaching job, praise God, and owned a home like the next year.
I'm glad somebody listened. Rick didn't listen.
Sorry, Rick. Oh yeah, it's been a journey though. I right to this day.
Well, Val, tell us about your pursuit of your doctorate. And
yes, sir. The doctorate was basically it was me. I didn't really want to go back to school and get the doctorate. That wasn't on my mind. I had this like internal fear of going back even to get my master's because I was like, oh, it's too much work. And I started to talk myself out of it. And that was all, Satan trying to mess me up. But there's opportunities and doors kept opening. And I said, I need to be prepared. When the doors open, I don't have time to go back and get the degree. I need to have it already prepared. And so I went back, got my master's, and my father was not living when I did get my master's, but my grandmother was. And so when I went back and got that degree for my master's, like many doors open, and then I just kept pursuing because the people that trailblazed the way for me in the village, I still live in St. Paul, and these people, many of them are still here, and many of them I can just tap into for knowledge and wisdom and stuff like that. But I did that because God opened that door. He really opened that door. And I was at St. Mary's University up here in Minnesota. And as soon as I got the master's, and then they opened up the door and they said, oh, well, you only need to take this many classes to get your license, your administrative license. I said, okay, fine. And then once I got that, they said, you only need this many credits to get your doctorate. And I prayed about that thing. I'm like, oh my Lord, but I'm glad I went for it because it helped me grow in my profession and in my personality about networking even more and dealing with people on many different levels. It got me out of my comfort zone for real. And the way I speak up here and being able to speak to, I don't care who's in the audience. I speak to thousands of people daily, and I speak in big places. And I'm not afraid because the fear that Satan tried to block me, I overcame that. So I speak to anybody. I do commencements. I do all kinds of different speaking engagement. And that's one part of my life, my professional life. My personal life, I'm a minister.
I was waiting on you to touch on that. Go ahead.
I married young, according to society, but I married at age of 23. I was almost 24. And my husband, as a matter of fact, his name is Sam Butler. Coaches will blow your mind. We went on a road trip playing basketball, and we stayed down in No. We were just traveling with the basketball team, and we traveled through, I don't know where we were. But when I got into the choir at FAM, I was in the gospel choir at FAM. We traveled down to St. Petersburg, Florida, stayed in this hotel, And I remember it because it was just like scary because there's so many different people out there. So when I got married, my husband's from St. Petersburg, Florida. And he took me down to his home to meet his family. And I said, I stayed at that hotel. He said, you did not. I said, yes, I did. He said, I painted that hotel. Stayed right around the corner from his mom's house. Never knew this guy. And I met him in Atlanta. But anyway, he plays guitar. He played for the Five Blind Boys from Alabama for years. He was their producer and all these different things, going on the road. And I said, okay, I'm going to go on the road and see what this is all about. But that was not my calling. And I heard you guys talking about living in your calling early in this program. And that's not my calling. I said, no, you stay on the road because that's your calling. This is what you do. I love kids. And I just started, I went back to, I never left my job. I was always working. And I got into
Stop, Al. Didn't you do some singing too?
Yes, sir. I sing. I still sing. Musical family. Musical.
Rick, she trying to gloss over that a little bit. See, Val would always do that.
No, I do a little singing. But my kids and everybody very instrumental in our family ministry. But I met my husband in this play called The Gospel at Colonus. It traveled. It went to Broadway and all these different things. Morgan Freeman was in this play before he became the Morgan Freeman. And it was so much fun. I learned a lot of all these different things, but that is not my calling. I mean, I don't get caught up and do power tripping with all these people that I see, all these stars and all that. That doesn't bother me. My main thing is I have to live out what God has for me, because I told my husband I have to do what God has for me. And we're compatible like that. And so singing with my family, growing with them and getting them up right now, they're still singing to this day.
But I need to rewind you just a little bit.
Yes, sir.
As you talk about what God has for you, for the people who don't know, how do you know that God is talking to you? How do you know that that's what he wants for you?
Well, the way I think God talks to you and he reveals to you, because when I've tried to do different things and the doors just would not open. And I probably was just trying to do it on my own and venture out on my own, because I'm led. God opens up doors. Every job I've ever had is an assignment that God has placed me in. I know it has been, but I know it because the only way you know that God is talking to you is you have to talk to him and have this relationship with him, a personal relationship with him. Not that I know of God. Oh, I heard about God. Somebody told me about you, God. No, you have to know God for yourself. And how he speaks to you is you speak to him. And then sometimes you not speak, just be quiet and listen. He speaks all the time.
I asked a guy on my basketball team the same question. His answer was very similar to yours. He said, Coach, I got a personal relationship with God. When God talks to me, I know his voice. I said, okay, I got you. In the conversation.
Yeah, that's it. I remember, and this is very vivid, and I'm going to be very candid. I was going through some struggles and ups and downs, in my marriage and stuff like that. And I was like, God, just, do something with him and, chastise him. And then in the midst of all of my conversation in an audible voice, I'm not making this up. God said, well, what are you doing for me? Because my whole focus was on trying to deal with my husband. My husband is not my God. Mm-hmm. God is my God. My husband is God's child. So I had to get out the way and let God handle that. And we've been married 36 years.
That's a blessing there.
It is. It truly is.
Do this.
Yes, sir.
What advice would you give to students? And there'll always a lot who listen to the show and doing different things. What advice would you give to students in terms of trying to follow their dream and doing their calling? What would you say to them?
First and foremost, be true to yourself. You can't be somebody else. God made one of you. You're unique. And so if you see somebody, and don't hate on people because they have this and they have that, and don't look at what you don't have, be grateful for what you do have and use the skills and the gifts and the talents that God has blessed you with. And so whatever your desire is, if your desire is like burning in your heart, I mean, you just can't even stop thinking about it. And it just keeps coming to you. Whatever that desire is, pursue it. Pursue it. You don't have to try to measure up to anybody because that's a waste of time. And the main thing about with young people, I tell them, what are the things that you can control and what are the things you can't control, especially when you're going through stuff. If you can't change certain things and you're trying to fix other people's problems, that's like changing the weather. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. So you are empowered with your own gifts and skills. Use them to benefit you. It sounds selfish, but I tell people I'm not conceited, I'm confident. There's a difference. I know who I am. So when I'm walking, people can't define me. I know who I am. And so you have to learn. That's why building up your character and knowing who you are internally, so you won't sway with the wind or with the next phase or with the next fad and try to just follow somebody down a dark road or down a road that is not even your path. Like we say, stay in your lane. And so you don't have to be apologetic about who you are, but you respectfully, show people who you are. You can show them better than you could tell them. It's about consistency.
Okay. On the flip side of that.
Yes, sir.
What words of advice would you give to parents in supporting their children? And I know that's what you're going to do is talk about that end of it. But what words would you give to them?
This generation is a little different, but as parents, and one thing I do is I listen to young people. I listen to young people. Yeah, they have a voice, and I'm not saying that they are trying to be their parent. Make sure you remain the parent. Yes, sometimes you can't tell the difference, but listen to the kids. Sometimes they cry, and they cry different. Sometimes they cry real tears. Sometimes they cry and they strike out violently, but they're crying for something. They're asking for something. And we teach our kids to just say it. Say what you need. Like I deal with kids all day. And you say what you need and you're acting it out. And what you're doing is creating a problem on top of a problem. Just say what you need respectfully. But so as parents, stay consistent and make sure you love on your kids. You love them through whatever issues they're going through. Because as the word says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. God is with me. If God has you, he's going to have your child. You have to continue to stay covering your child as God covers you. Main thing as a parent is lead by example. That's huge. Kids, they're gonna do what they see over what you say.
Very, very true. Very true. Rick? Hello?
He went to sleep.
Yeah, well, that I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm so sorry. This camera's not working. This is ridiculous. I don't know how to, and I'm scared to hit something because I don't want to click us off.
You say you don't want it to go backwards on you at all?
Man, no, sir, I do not. But it's, oh my gosh, life is a journey. It is a journey, and allow these young people just to, express what they want to do, and then tell them, okay, that's a plan. Now stick to your plan. Mm-hmm. You do have a plan. Stick to your plan. How is that going to play out? What are you going to do to fulfill your goals? What are you? And then you make it their responsibility. Make them accountable. This is what you said you're going to do. So if you're going to be this doctor or whatever you're trying to be, when does it start? Does it start when you graduate or does it start now? It starts now. So what steps are you taking?
I got you there. I got you there. Coach, it seems as though you were really comfortable with a lot that you learned at FAMU.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I work at a school right now. The colors are orange and black. And when I came here, this is my first year here. I've been here since July. They said, why do you have all so much orange? I said, man, you just don't understand where I came from. I had orange, and I will always keep orange. I have orange and green, so I wear everything. Mm-hmm. I always wear FAM stuff. I only represent. I wear other stuff to represent the HBCUs for the kids. But I said, if you want to go to the best, stick with me.
Well, you told the truth there, but You
Keep
know,
it
you tell
real.
the truth, but you're a principal now.
Yeah.
How does that go for you?
You know, being a principal is I love it. You know, I work for kids, but I work with adults. There's a huge difference with working with kids. I don't work with kids. I work for kids. So they tell me what they need, and it's my job to make sure they get it. But it's their job to do what they need to do to make sure that they get it. And so I tell them, tell me what you need. And my job with adults, I get things out your way so you can do what you do best. Teach the kids, all of them, not the selected few, all of them. So being a principal is hard because it's so political. You know, it's very political. And that's the hardest part about the job. And I don't know. I've been in education. This is my 37th year in education.
And what do you enjoy most about being principal?
Every day is a new day. Every year is a new year. And if I didn't have these young people around me to keep me, you know, grounded and laughing and learning, because I learned so much from them, you know, I would be bored. But you know, at this new school, you have to learn the culture of the school and all these different things and different communities. And like I tell them, I don't chase them down the hall. They're not going to class. I said, I don't need to chase you. I don't need to chase you. I see you. Now my job is to figure out, why are you running? And what are you running from? You know, you're running from the free opportunities. And so we sit down and we talk. We have discussions. And you plant the nuggets just like you planted in me. Just like my parents planted in me. Just like your beautiful mom did. Oh my gosh, I always remember your mom.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, she's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. She's the backbone of who I am.
Absolutely.
No, she's the backbone of that. Well, Val, we appreciate you being with us.
Yes, sir. I'm so sorry about this technology, but I'll try again. And I'll step up my game and be on time, okay?
Rick, you with? Are you with us now, Rick? I can't hear. Rick, I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear him. I see his lips moving like a Japanese movie.
Oh my God. Coach Clayton, you know, I want to really appreciate, you know, one thing I really learned, I know I got to go, but when we went on the road trips and you put all the Valeries in the same room, which was like the funniest and the funnest time I ever had in my life. Valerie Robinson Patterson, we still stay connected. I still stay connected with some of the team, which is a beautiful thing. God bless the rest of her soul, Valerie C. But we had so much fun just growing up at FAM. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, because I know it was hard because we had so many different personalities.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Did you? Woo. Yes, Lord.
Oh my goodness.
But we had a common goal, and y'all fought together, boy. Y'all
absolutely.
left images all up and down the Eastern Starboard. They remember those Rattlerettes, boy.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir. So I learned a lot, and I will always cherish that and take it to heart. And I appreciate it, because I am here because of the seeds that you planted in me. And I have just continued to put those seeds in other people and press forward with it. And I think these young people are amazing. They're brilliant. And I always tell them to show their brilliance. Show your brilliance and do not be afraid.
Well, I appreciate the kindness of your words, and the things that were within you, they were already there, Pumpkin. I did very little. Those were in you when they came, and I'm just glad that you've gone on to be able to understand what your mission is, and to be a successful role model and a model of inspiration to all the different avenues you use to touch these people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is your legacy.
And when you come to Minnesota?
I've been there once. I probably won't be back again.
I'm sorry. You came on that one cold day?
One cold day. I think y'all had the Final Four there one year I was there.
We sure did. We sure did.
And it was freezing.
I'm sorry, man. We
It
turned
was
up the heat.
freezing. It was so cold all week. I mean, it was freezing. I said, man, and I'm from Cleveland, so I know cold, but I'm like, and I didn't see any people of color anywhere. You know, once it get cold, I know we don't come out.
No, I just go home and go to work, and I just go to my destination, and I don't play out there. I'm too old for that.
When you were younger, you didn't play for that. But we
Pretty much.
appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you so much, and we need to have you back on again. And
anytime.
I'm very proud of you, your
Yes,
accomplishment, and all of that. We just
yes, sir.
Really,
Thank
really
you
proud
so
of you.
much.
No,
Hey, Mr. Rick, are you awake, man?
See, there you go with that Japanese conversation. See, there you go.
Oh,
I don't
my
know what's
goodness.
up with him. He probably got himself on. They always ask him what he's drinking over there, so I'm gonna leave it alone.
Oh, my goodness.
they always on it. But we appreciate you, and you see, there you go with the cup. And we appreciate you. We're gonna talk some about what's going on with basketball and all of that, but we appreciate you coming on and helping share Women's History Month with us.
Yes, sir.
You a trailblazer and have always been such.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. A lot of love for you, Punky.
Love you. All right, bye-bye.
Remembering the legends is about honoring and recognizing people who have made significant contributions. A lot of times in sports, a lot of times in other things. This particular young lady, she was my supervisor at Florida A&M University, was Sarah Hill Yates. We knew Sarah because she was a track athlete and one of the upperclassmen. She was a year ahead of me at Florida A&M University. Ran track on a club team, got 4 girls together, talked then track coach Bobby Lang and allowing them to run and compete. They were physical education students who just wanted to have something to do. Little did we know that she would be as passionate about leading women's athletics as she was. As a student at Florida A&M, she was very active. And Title IX was signed into law in June 1972. Before then, all intercollegiate programs at FAMU were for men. The women, just on club level. Sarah Hill hired me to be the women's basketball coach at Florida A&M University. As she was the first women's athletic director at Florida A&M, I was the first women's basketball coach at Florida A&M. But when she was the athletic director, she had 4 jobs. Her initial title was a physical education teacher. Then women's athletics were funded through the physical education department. This also led her to other jobs as coordinator for women's athletics, along with coaching women's track and cheerleading. The fight then was about Title IX funding and trying to make sure the institutions did what they were supposed to do for women's sports. 50 years of Title IX brought a story that we covered in INSiiGHTS magazine, along with Sarah Hill Yates and Barbara Palmer of Florida State University are in that story. It's on our INSiiGHTS YouTube page, and one that we got an extreme number of comments. One of the things that Miss Hill Yates was most proud of is the life of her graduates who were successful in a number of different sports, and a lot of them still in touch with her. What Sarah Hill Yates did in leading women's athletics at Florida A&M University was quite a battle. She had to prove to the men in the departments that the women's athletic programs were not going to take away from the men's programs. She was an ardent leader and supporter of women's athletics and fought for every inch, for every dollar, for everything. A lot of times, as the women's basketball coach, I was not even aware of all that she went through. But when you look at the women's athletic department now and athletics across the nation, and the significant impact of women's sports nationwide and worldwide, it was those pioneer leaders, much like Barbara Palmer and Sarah Hill Yates from Florida A&M University. that laid the groundwork. That is why Sarah Hill Yates is a legend. Oh man, we got a lot that's been going on with basketball. The all Big Ben team came out. We had a sophomore from Ricketts High School named Genesis Henry. You need to pay attention to that name. She made the female player of the year in the Big Ben. For the girls, coach of the year was Troy Hartman. Took a child's team to over 20 victories this year. That was an accomplishment. He did a good job with them. The boys coach of the year, INSiiGHTS special friend, Gene Granger, that we've had on the show a number of times, talking about the program, and INSiiGHTS did all of their games for McClay boys basketball. Big Ben player of the year, Anthony Robinson Jr. You know his dad. His dad played baseball at FAMU, played baseball and basketball at FAMU High, was an assistant baseball coach at Florida A&M University, and is currently the athletic director at Florida High School. Anthony Robbins signed early. Where is he going? Between me and you, he going to Mizzou. Going out there with Carlton Young. He's a young man that had a heck of a year. One game away from making a return engagement back to the state tournament that they won the previous year. Him and Trey Donaldson, guard at Auburn, who plays a lot. The two of them, they were something to play with. They couldn't play with them. Now, how about the 2A player of the year? Interesting. He wasn't even the Big Ben player of the year, but he was a 2A player of the year. Chris Parker, going to Alabama from Crossroads Academy. Dad played basketball at Florida A&M, played at Florida High. Kenny Parker. Mom, Shelly Boston, played for me. All-conference guard. Genetically, couldn't be nothing else but a good basketball player. So we had a lot of people there that have a background in sports. Just like you have one with the people that have been on our females, the young ladies that we've had for Women's History Month. A lot of those are former student athletes as well. And they have done a lot. If you go back to listen to any of the stories that we've had concerning the people that were a part of our Women's History Month, they had athletic background. That in itself should be an inspiration to all of you. How about the National Junior College Association? We had a young man that you ought to know. We had him on the show. The other Rick Cabrera. We had him on the show a couple of times. Does a really good interview. And he's a young man who's now got a head coaching job back in Louisiana. He was the NGCAA Coach of the Year, losing in the semifinals. He done a really, really, really good job. And, man, he cashed those chips in and got a Division I head coaching job.
All right. Congratulations.
Oh, man, he's gotten a lot of love around here for what he did. TCC came very close to making it to that championship game. And remember, this is we had him on, and the thing I remember was he said he wasn't going to be held hostage by any players. He took that team the first year, won 21 games. he got rid of them jokers, brought in a whole new team, and went to the National Junior College Tournament. So what he said and what he did, man, he backed that up.
Yes, he did.
No. What was your thought about Coach?
About Coach Rick?
Yeah.
Just his energy, Coach. I mean, he came on and he tried to downplay, but once you got to know him and start talking to him, he told you. What did he say at the beginning of the year? I think if we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to have a good team. He told us that right here on this show. And sure enough, look where it led him. I loved his energy. He was open to suggestions. He wasn't standoffish when he met people. I mean, he was, and that's why he had success.
We wish him the best of luck. But
Yeah.
how about this? Who you got? We got. If you had these 4 teams picked,
You're lying.
tournament,
You're lying.
are you rich? If you had them picked for real, you can go on and call it a day.
For real, for real.
For real. Yeah. And you got let me hear your theory on what's going on in college basketball on the men's side.
Okay, well, what we got? We got San Diego State, FAU, Miami, and I guess UConn is the only true blood when it comes to basketball. I guess if for years and all, but I think the mid majors with their senior class and with their older players, I think that makes a difference, especially in a tournament. If they're a good team and a good senior class, they can play with the big boys for one game. And if they're good, you see what I mean. For Miami is a little different, I think. I think Coach Larrañaga, he's had this experience before with George Mason, taking them to a Final Four. So, but he's always had older players as well. And this Miami team is old. It's not like he has a bunch of freshmen on this team. I think that makes a difference. And when a lot of programs, the so-called a lot of programs doing the one and dones and the Dukes and the Kentuckys and the Kansas, they're also some of those programs are going through transitions. Duke with the new coach and all, but when I think veteran players or older players, I think they can play with the superstar youngins. And I think it's shown this year.
And Sports Steve would say, nah, Rick, San Diego State was shooting deep threes. But see, it's the thing that we've always talked about, and that is a lot of these guys, when you look at them, they're men. And they are, you got that COVID year and redshirt year. You got some guys who've been around now. They 23, 24 years old. And I also think the NIL has leveled the playing field a lot. And Miami has a bunch of those kids on NIL. I mean, they've had the NCAA down there investigating the boys and the girls team. And the NIL, you have to recruit your team every year. I mean, we got leading scorer at FAMU, boys and girls are in the portal. And you have to stay, if you get a kid and you're a low D1 program and they have a good year, then people come at them and recruit them from you like you're a junior college.
Yeah.
And I remember them recruiting our 7-1 Jerome James like we were Florida A&M Community College. I mean, they were actively Division I coaches sitting over there in Day Street trying to recruit him. And his comment was, he said, when I came out of high school and I played at FAMU, I wasn't good enough to play anywhere else but FAMU. He said, now I'm good enough to play anywhere. So why would I leave the only school that gave me confidence to stay and grow?
Props.
So you had to respect that.
Yeah.
You know, but with the Florida school, Florida Atlantic of all, and it seems like when that happens, it just happens like Gulf Coast one year. You know, it happens. You know, the flash in the pan comes. I'm still waiting on Florida A&M's turn to come. But when you get that, and then you have FAU and Miami, you know, not Florida State, not Florida, not South Florida, not Central Florida,
Mm-hmm.
FAU,
Mm.
coach. It just
Mm.
does this make is Florida now a basketball powerhouse?
No, we would have said they were a powerhouse back when Florida won back to back in what 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. No, I just think it was just their time. I mean, they have a good coach, Coach May, Dusty May. I think sometimes you can hit lightning in the bottle. The true task, coach, to see if Florida has arrived, the state of Florida has arrived, is what happens next year. Because if the coach stays, will FAU make another run? Can they even get to the tournament next year? So I just think, like, and you mentioned it, like we had Gulf Coast one year, Florida State makes it every other year, it seems. You know, Florida's there. They were the top team in the state. Now they're whatever. I just think it comes. It's come. And it's coming for fam. I hope I'm alive, but it's coming. It's coming. No, I really don't.
Keep their coach. You think he'll be back next year?
I can see. I know he will get some offers. Mm-hmm. Whether he likes it where he is in Boca, where I'm sure they can pay him in Boca. We'll see. We'll see, Coach. It all depends on who's calling. I think he stays. I don't know though. It all depends on who's calling, Coach.
Coach, when they decide that they want you, it's not much they can offer you to keep you there. Not at FAU.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
And you get a multiple year contract. You get coaches who get fired, don't ever work again because they've made so much money with these huge contracts that they can go to the ranch.
Don't have to
do something else.
Mm-hmm. They can go on TV.
Oh yeah, they're looking for that one shot, Coach. When they get that shot, that shining moment, they're out of there. You know, they're out of there. You know, we said the same thing with Devan when he left. You know, he was looking for that opportunity. When the opportunity came, you can't hold that against a man who takes advantage of an opportunity when it comes to you
and wants to better himself. I mean, what athlete, what competitor doesn't want to go against the best? What true competitor put his own wits against the best? I don't know any true competitors who wouldn't want to. So I understand. I don't even trip. I don't trip.
And to be able to put that paycheck that pales in comparison.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. You talking about generational wealth. You talking about being able to take care of your grandchildren, not even your children, but your grandchildren. The amount of money that some of these coaches make. And they have to take the opportunity to do that when that opportunity comes. You know, they have to go in.
Yeah.
So I don't begrudge anybody who makes those decisions to do that, Rick, to be able to go out and get that money while it's there. You got to cash those chips. It's like sitting at the roulette wheel. You know, you sitting there, and once you get a certain amount, you need to cash in because you're not going to beat the house. The house going to always win.
That's right. So true.
When you get a chance to get that moolah, Rick, you got to get that moolah and be out.
Hey, and I hold nothing against it because, hey, you might not be here tomorrow.
Might not be here. Well, Rick, I appreciate you being able to fight through your technical difficulties. We have all had those to go through. You know, we all had those. I knew we were in trouble when we were talking to you, and it wasn't a mute on, And we couldn't hear you saying things. So that won't be long. That's that technical difficulty. We know exactly what that is.
Hey, at least I didn't go to the car this time, and the car situation out here in the Dub Sea. Hey, I appreciate you, Coach. And hey, who you got for the Final Four though? I love it. I love it.
I'm
think?
just watching. I really don't even have a dog in the hunt. We got a family thread that we do a pool with the family. Man, I've been out of that thing so long. My wife said, only in my family are they 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. They're on a family thread argue about basketball.
All right, Coach, real quick. Women. South Carolina versus Iowa. I think that game is Friday.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's
I gotta watch.
Game to see.
Yes. I want to see what Miss Clark is. She's a bad girl.
Yes, she is.
She's a bad girl. I ain't taking nothing from her.
You see her when she be doing this, and man, she shoot that sucker past NBA deep. I mean, she's letting it go.
But I want to see her against them, that team, that Carolina team. Oh my gosh!
Now this is what you got to watch. South Carolina plays physical.
Mm-hmm. How the refs will call them.
Yeah. But they play physical. They play physical defense. I mean, that's how they coach. That's how they play, and they push the limit. Now the question is, how physical will they let them play? And 2, the depth that South Carolina has anyway. Then I want to see how Ms. Clark responds to it.
Yes.
So that I'm with you. Game of the day, a game of the Final Four is the women's game. That's the one everybody's waiting to see. You're exactly right.
That's what I want to see, definitely. So
yeah, Friday night. That might be the only game I've seen the whole way because there's a lot of games going. You keep hopping from game to game, but I won't be hopping from game to game on Friday night.
No, sir.
Rick.
Coach.
With the latest from INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at INSiiGHTS.com. 2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
INSiiGHTS is the copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises. It is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent their independent thoughts and representation.
Like us on Facebook.
I liked it on Facebook.
Follow us on Twitter. INSiiGHTS.
Yeah.
2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
All right, y'all.
That's what it was. I didn't get my all right, y'all, in the beginning. That's why I've been having problems all. See? That's it.
Hey, that's why I made sure I gave it to you before we left.
All right, y'all, we out.
Appreciate you.
Love you, Coach. Peace.
You too, man.